Hey, Devin.
Hey!
So I'm Leila Thomasone. I'm here with Devin Cameron, and she is Misfit Pursuit at Misfit Pursuit on Twitter. So yeah, we're gonna have a little chat because you've had some stuff going on in your life, and wanted to ask you a little bit about that, and as well as we asked our tweets about what they wanted us to talk about, and so they said talk about dating for marriage and how to do that. So I'm excited. Yay.
Yay!
So what's new with you?
Well, so for those who don't know, I'm engaged.
Oh my God, it's so pretty. Congratulations.
It's crazy thinking that like where I'm sitting now is like a year ago, if you would have asked me, I would be where I'm at right now. I would have been like, you're crazy. You're totally crazy. I honestly didn't even think that this was possible a year ago. It's crazy how much has happened and how much I've grown and things like from then to now. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't that so true? I mean, when I work with people or talk to people about, finding their man or starting their dream life, it's like everything seems so far in the future, and you just don't have you have no idea how quick everything will just change like that.
We can definitely. My lunch.
Dryer.
Very loud. I got a new dryer. It's very loud, so apologies for that. Um, but yeah, it's. I mean, your whole life could change tomorrow. I mean, like people always say, you could meet the love of your life tomorrow, and it's true because you really never know what the next day is going to hold. You just have to be prepared for it. I think that's the most important thing that I feel like we've talked about previously is just being prepared for when that moment happens or when you do cross that person. You want to prepare yourself to be the person that you need to be to receive that person.
Yeah, exactly. We always talk about like that, everybody's out there trying to find that person, and really isn't it about creating that relationship first in your own mind? Right? So like what was that mindset shift that happened for you that you think really made it set the stage and got you prepared, like you said?
I think it was a little bit of everything, but I feel like for me personally, I just got to a point where the only thing that I've ever said that I wanted, and I do want, is to be a wife and a mother. Those are the things that I've always had a desire to be at. You know, everybody talks about these big dreams and goals that they have, and I was always like the one that was like, I just want to be a wife and a mom. And people, I always felt judged for that. But my behaviors didn't necessarily align with that because I was pursuing a career and doing the things that I was told that I needed to do, like, go to school, get a job, live by yourself, do all these things. And I'm glad that I did those things because, it taught me a lot of good lessons. However, I got to a point where, I finally hit 24, and I think that's when I realized, hey, like, man, I thought I would be married with kids by now. And it was starting to get frustrating. And I was like, okay, this is something that I want, then I'm going to have to start really prioritizing that and getting there. And I think even coming across you and David and being able to have a friendship with you guys, your perspectives have been really refreshing for me. And I think it really just kind of validated what I already knew, but I wasn't getting from anywhere else. And it was encouraging. And so that kind of kick-started me being like, okay, like this is what I want, and this is completely attainable. It's not crazy to want these things. These things are very normal and natural to desire, and it's absolutely attainable. People do it all the time. So why not? Like, why not me? I'm awesome. I can get there. I can do that. And so really prioritizing that over everything else is how I got there.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. I love it. I want to like repeat everything you just said. So you said you always wanted it. You always wanted a family. You always wanted to get married and be a wife and a mother, but your actions weren't aligning with it, with what you said you wanted. And so then you had to like really actually prioritize it and like kind of admit to some degree that even though we get cultural messages that other stuff should take priority, then you just were like, finally, and I think, and part of it, like you said, was hearing echoing voices that reinforced like, I'm not crazy for wanting this. And so it's okay to put that at the top of my list of what I'm actually going for in life.
Right.
Awesome. Yes. So true. So true. I say it all the time. I'm so glad other people are saying it too. Yay. And I'm glad it's like you're living it. So you're like setting it in motion and you're living proof. And I mean, I am too, but people like when they hear me say it, it's like, oh, well, you're just, like selling your coaching business or whatever. But it's like, but yeah, I mean, I lived it, you live it, and it works, right? When you put it into motion, then it's like, I just figure it has to work because that's you're just like activating like the energy of the universe to like put your goals into motion. Like when you set out to do something, you do it. You don't just sit and wish and hope and just assume it'll happen without trying.
Right. It's like, no matter what it is, whatever you want, you have to commit to it. Because if you don't commit to it, you're not going to achieve it. You're not going to have whatever it is that you're desiring. Whether that is, if your desire is to have a specific career path, and like if you want to be a doctor, well, you got to commit to that. You got to go to school for a very long time. And you really have to commit to that, something you have to really want. Well, it's just no different for relationships. And as far as marriage is a lot, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it as if it's a goal, but it very much so is a goal. And so you have to treat it like one in order to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have this aversion to treating it like a goal. I wonder, I mean, we could pull that apart, probably talk about it all day, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, treating it as a goal. If it really is something that you really want in life, you have to go get it and make it happen. Yeah. So people wanted us to talk about dating for marriage. And so that's really what we're talking about anyway, right? It's like, but what does that mean specifically to date for marriage? What does that mean to you?
So when I finally decided to treat marriage as if it were, okay, this is my goal. Like, this is where I want to be. So how do I get there? I decided, well, first things first. These are my expectations. This is what I am looking for. And I'm not going to anything outside of that, those boundaries that I create, like I would say boundary / expectation, kind of both. I would say anything that falls outside of that, don't even give it any energy or attention, because all it's going to do is prolong you getting to your goal. It's a distraction. Yeah. So anything that is not within, is this what I'm looking for? Is this going to get me to where I want to go? And if not, it's a distraction. Example, like, I obviously, I believe marriage to be, because they align with my Christian values. And so if someone is not on that same page, then for me, we're not going in the same direction. So if you don't believe marriage to be what I believe it to be, which is what God's word says it to be, then for me, that was a boundary. So if we're not on the same page there, I'm not going to date you. I don't care if you're super handsome or if you have a lot of money. For me, that was my boundary, because I spent a lot of time just dating around carelessly, and it never led me to where I wanted to go. So I had to set those expectations and boundaries. And that's just one example of many, but
Yeah. Yeah. So to put it in terms that I think like the internet maybe could understand is like, so if somebody's just inviting you over for quarantine and chill or whatever, then, and they're not dating for the purpose of marriage, if they're not looking for marriage, if they're not open to it, or like really like, yeah, I could see myself doing that because I'm that into you, then it's a waste of time. You're just, and it seems like common sense. And I feel like silly repeating things sometimes, but I feel like when you're not in that paradigm, you're not in that mindset, it can take a lot of repetition to finally stick and be like, oh yeah. 'Cause I mean, I remember how that was for me. It was like, oh yeah, so I'm not going to talk somebody into being into marriage if they clearly lay out that they're only interested in something casual and short term, or hang out. I won't even call you my girlfriend, or maybe I'll call you my girlfriend, but that's about it. So yeah.
and I think for me anyways, it was easy because I did desire marriage so much that I think instead of setting those boundaries, I would settle for crumbs. Like I was like, well, maybe, like I think subconsciously we think maybe we could change somebody, or maybe if we just love them well enough, they'll choose me or love me back, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
we can't,
unfortunately.
like you don't need to. I like that you said you're not going to try to convince somebody. Like that's too much work. Like that's just, it's exhausting. Why would you want to do that anyways? And it is crazy when you get to the point where you're like, man, I can't believe I did that. Because it is like a total paradigm shift. And you would think that, oh, this is common sense. And once you get to that point, you're like, oh, this totally black and white makes sense. But until you're in that, it is hard to see it that way. You've got to sift through all of those emotions and see it as like, okay, no, I'm not going to settle. This is what I'm looking for. And people usually are pretty, they're very clear about it if marriage is their goal or not. Because if it's your goal, like you'll know.
Yeah, and especially as women, I think we want sort of, I mean, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but sort of like the fairy tale to some degree. Like you want to be romanced, and I think that's for good reason, because that shows that you're not the one that's more committed. Like you're not dragging him along, right? That he's actually as much or more into you than you are into him, which makes us feel safe and secure. Like, okay, so I wasn't the one convincing and making it happen. Like he actually is into it. And but like you're saying with the crumbs, it's like, yeah, if I can just, say things and do things right to make him feel that way about me, then we're always going to feel insecure. Like even if we somehow did make that happen, which rarely does, but even if we did, that wouldn't be the makings of strong, secure marriage.
Right. And it kind of, I feel like also along with, what word did you use? Oh my goodness. But basically, you said something that made me think that, but kind of like allowing men to kind of lead that. Because I know we've talked about that before, and that's really important in this kind of context as far as marriage. It's important for the man to be like leading in that way, and for us to feel secure and safe, and we shouldn't have to be insecure or worry about or question whether or not they really want this. Like we should just know based upon their actions or behavior.
Yeah, and especially because, and I guess one thing you said that could be really important is, like you said, that you were very much like wanted marriage so much, whereas like I think that if we're not really in tune with what we want and how badly we want it, like it's there, but we're not hearing it for ourselves, then that's when it's like, well, do I really have a right to ask for this? Do I really have a right to go and get it for myself? Because you're just not in touch with how much you actually really want it. I guess, if that makes sense. Well, I think that's an issue for people to go all in and make it happen. And then they're still like riding the fence. Like, maybe I can, maybe it's okay to waste some time. Like, maybe it's okay to just be casual and accept whatever is being given out at the time. And then once you get in touch with that true desire, then you can actually go all in and make it happen and stop picking up the crumbs and trying to twist somebody's arm into something.
Right.
But yeah, like on the safe and secure side of it, especially when we want to have children, and the fact remains, biologically, we are vulnerable and have, a great period in our life of having babies that you don't want to feel like he's going to leave. You don't want to feel scared when you have a little tiny dependence that you don't know how in it he really is. Yeah. So I think that's like a totally valid and important instinct that we have, to really want that full-on commitment from a man, which you don't get if you're the one leading.
Right. I think, and a lot of the things, based on from what a lot of my gal friends have told me, something that they're always bringing to my attention is that they are almost afraid to be upfront about what it is they're looking for. And it's that fear of rejection, because if I say what I'm looking for or what my expectations are, then they're just going to leave. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
That means that you are sifting through the ones not meant for you. It's doing the work for you. Like, some people don't agree with me, but my method, works for me. I am very upfront, first and foremost. So when I was, it's kind of funny. When I first started dating Jeremy, I was actually I was going on a date with a few other guys. So I was kind of going counter to what I've always done, because I've been a serial monogamist. And I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of follow what these guys are saying. Like, I feel like, you and I don't know if David said, but I know you and some other people had suggested, just like date. And so I tried that. And that's when we went on a date, that was, I had been dating some other people, and I was upfront about, I'm not looking to commit to anybody until I'm like, it's serious, because I'm not, I'm not going to waste my time. This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm not settling until I get it. And it's just funny, because looking back, and people are afraid to voice that, and you shouldn't feel afraid of that, because if people reject you, they weren't the one for you anyways. You want somebody who's going to hear those words and be like, okay, girl, I see you. Like, I'm going to be that man for you. Just watch.
Yeah.
Because he's even told me, that night he knew that I was going to be the one, that like I was the one, and that he was going to pursue me until he made it happen. And he did. And he did it very quickly, because he knew what he wanted, and he wasn't playing games, and he respected everything that I wanted. And it's been awesome. I didn't think that I could have this a year ago. And I couldn't have, because I wasn't who I am now, because I had to work on those things myself, and I had to set those boundaries and value myself and validate for myself what I wanted, and not compromise for anybody just because of what culture or society or family or whatever anybody says. Like, this is what I want. I'm not going to settle for less, point blank. And if I got to wait for 10 years, then I will wait for 10 years until I find it. But I'm not compromising, because it's not worth it.
Yep.
That's how it was for me. Anyway.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of strength and building yourself up to be that bold. And then, and like, it's so funny that what you just said was, I'll wait for 10 years. And then it happens immediately. Like, that's what happens when you really know what you want and you really have high standards, that it's that or nothing. Right. And that was really hard for you, that that step of dating around instead of just committing all in without the actual commitment to go with it, right? So yeah, so how were you able to finally make that shift? I know that was really hard.
It was definitely not what I was used to. And I almost felt like it was hard. It's hard to get over that feeling. You're like, oh, I'm cheating on somebody, but you're not cheating on them because you're not committed to them. You have not consciously made a commitment to that person to enter into a very serious relationship. And some people take that as like I wasn't sleeping with any of these guys, and that's the biggest, I think, distinction. It's not like I don't suggest or condone going out and sleeping with multiple people. And for some reason, that's where people take it. And that's definitely not at all. Just going out on dates, going to do things, and getting to know a person, getting to know what their values are, what their goals are, see if those align, and how you feel about that person, if there's sparks, if there's, alignment there. And it was definitely weird at first because I was, I did feel like, oh man, I'm seeing like both of these people, like, I don't know how I feel about this. But ultimately it gave me confidence and respect for myself, because I was not at that, doing that kind of taught me like, okay, I'm not going to give all of myself to somebody anymore, because I think that's where a lot of people develop bitterness, is when our innate desire to just commit and to grow with somebody else, and we want to do that and we cling, and when we're not getting what we need or desire out of it, then it starts to grow that bitterness. And there's no reason for that. You could have just avoided that altogether had you just not decided to give all of yourself to this one person, if you're not getting what you need in return.
And we're like putting those expectations on ourselves prematurely, when that's not what the guy that we just met, that's not the expectations he has. Like, he's like, I don't know you. How can I tell you you can't see anyone else? And I'm not going to let you tell me I can't see anyone else. So why do we put that on ourselves before we like even barely meet someone?
Isn't that funny? Like, it is so funny to me, because we really do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really do. And like you said, it changes the whole vibe when you're able to, for one thing, make that leap of faith, that you've got faith in the process, even though it's hard to do, but that you've got I don't know, it's just like that confidence goes with it hand in hand. Like there's this exchange of energy that when you've got more than one option, then you've got more confidence going into it, that, okay, I don't need to be clingy and needy, and I can take you or leave you. And I'm going to do that based on whether our values align, not based on whether I don't have anybody else lined up. So.
Yeah. It was only literally like maybe 3 days. And because Jeremy and I went on a date, and then and it was February 15th. So the day after Valentine's Day. And I had gone a few days and I had talked to nobody but him. And I really sat and I was like, man, I don't want to talk to any of these other guys anymore. And so I decided to have that conversation with him. Like, okay, I'm not really interested in any of those other guys. Cause I at first told him that I was, dating around. And from the instant he was like, I'm not interested in anybody else. And so when I knew that he was serious, and then I made that decision for myself, we could move forward, and there was no other issue, He ended up telling me that night he was supposed to go to some party with his friends, and he actually sent them a text and was like, I'm not going to be able to go. And they were giving him a hard time for it. And he was like, he told them why, and they respected that. And I thought that was really cool that his friends like respected that. And I thought that was funny. He didn't tell me. I found out later, but I thought that was really cool. So when you know, you know.
Yes. Yeah, and it doesn't have to take forever, right? And so when did you guys get engaged officially?
Gosh, I should know the date exactly. You would think I would. Um, it was like 2 weeks ago now. It was really sweet. I mean, we had talked about, we knew that we were going to, like marriage was our goal. We knew that, and that we didn't want to waste time. There's no reason. Like, we know that this is our goal. This is what we want. Our values align. And so we just got into this new house. I got this new house, and I got these really cute picture frames. And so one morning, it was like a really beautiful day out. So I was like, hey, Jeremy, like, do you want to go today and just like look nice, go take photos? And he was like, yeah. So we get all these really cute pictures. We're about to leave. And then he's like, hey, can we go back to that one spot and take some pictures there? And I was like, yeah, I'm getting kind of hangry, but I guess I'll go. And so I went and we took back pictures. It's like, so I used my tripod and the self timer, and it takes 6 pictures, and it's like 10 seconds in between each one. And so 2 pictures went by, and then the third one, he got down on his knee, and I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, I'm on my knee, I'm serious. And so it was really sweet. And I thought it was really creative that he did that. Just very thoughtful.
Wow.
And I have a picture to capture that moment forever. So that was really cool.
Yes. Very smart. Very smart. Good job. Good job, y'all. Love it. And now you have those, like that actual moment. Because usually you like get pictures after the fact or whatever, but that actual moment, that is so cool. You got that forever.
Yeah. And I like the fact that he did that himself, because he knew that it's something that I would like. It just, the thoughtfulness of it was very sweet.
Yeah. It was very sweet. Oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what else? Fun. Oh, is that your puppy? Oh.
Yeah, it's one of my boys. I got 2 of them. Here's another one.
Cute. Adorable.
I'm definitely a dog mom until I'm gonna be a mom.
And plants too.
Yes, and a plant mom. I just love to nurture. It's in my blood.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't fight it.
Oh, not. But yeah. Other than that,
Good.
not a whole lot. I've just been working on the house. Been coming up with some business ideas. I decided that I don't want to go back into the salon, especially with all this craziness and this chaos and the new regulations. Like, I just don't want to deal with it. And we've had conversations because I eventually want to be a stay-at-home mom. So I'm trying to build something for myself to set myself up for that when that comes. So having some kind of online, I'm starting a blog. So stay tuned for that. And I'll have a website where I sell all things plant related. So I'm pretty excited to get all this started.
Yeah. And are you going to still be doing like your jewelry and stuff, the art?
So I will be on my site. I'll basically be selling, like, I'll be doing pots and plant hangers, and I'll also have jewelry that's plant related. So I'm going to kind of loop it all together. So,
awesome. Nice. I've got my, I was going to say, I've got my plant hanger. I should have pulled it over here, but I still got to put my pot in it and hang it up, but cute stuff.
So,
I love it.
I can't wait to see it. You'll have to send me a picture. I'll be so excited.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Okay, awesome. So you're going to go take some pictures or something? Also, you do photography too.
Yeah. See, I'm just like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I get bored if I do one thing repetitively all the time. Like, it just kills my creativity. So I like to do like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm doing some product photography for Zach today, which I'm really excited about. And that's really all I have for today outside of the stuff that I did this morning. So it's going to be a good day. And it looks like the sun's come out. It was supposed to storm all day today. And the sun decided to come out. So I'm happy about that.
Yay. So fun. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, you're doing it. You're like lining everything up, getting everything like set up in line, whatever word I was going to use, for being that kind of mom and having that life that you want. And that's what we have to do. Like just just live in alignment and head towards our goals instead of pretending like those things are off in the future, because the future never actually happens. You have to do it now at some point. You have to make it the present. So I love that. That's awesome. That's so
Nothing just
funny.
that.
What'd you say? Yeah, it won't just, you have to be open to the possibilities. And I love how you're exploring like all your different sides of creativity, because that tends to be a big part of what I work with people about, is like knowing what you want and like following through with it. Like that's, you have to like strengthen that inner compass, and that's going to be set a really good example for your kids, and just set a really good tone for your family life and your home life and everything. So awesome. You're doing it. You're doing good. I'm so proud of you. Yay. Well, thanks so much for having this conversation with me. What were you going to say?
I would just say, I was going to say, like, I appreciate you and your friendship with me and all the wisdom that you have poured into me, because it's really, I've applied a lot of it to my life. And even if, a lot of it, I've told you before, you don't even realize how much of a positive impact you've had on my life, and are a big reason why I am where I am. So that is huge. And yeah.
That means so much to me. Thank you so much. Yay. And now we get to share it with everyone else and help improve their lives too.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yes. I know there's lots of other ladies out there that are looking for the same thing, and they can have it too.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know I meet with them all the time, every day. So I hope they are watching, listening, and taking note that it will happen for them too.
Yep. If you commit to it, you have to commit to yourself for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, you listen to Scott Adams like I do, and he says like, it's just a matter of making a decision. Like there's a difference between wanting something and deciding on it. And once you decide on it, then it's done. It's going to happen. Like that's a real thing that happens. You just decide. So awesome.
It's as difficult and as simple as that. It's just deciding. I love Scott Adams.
Yep, me too. Awesome. Well, have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too. Until next time.
Yeah. Yay. Bye.